Hey there and welcome back. Ever find yourself wishing you could actually talk to animals?
Haha, I think we all have at some point, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
But I'm not just talking about, like, teaching your dog to shake. I mean, really understanding what's going on in their heads,
Yeah.
what they're actually thinking and feeling.
Yeah, it's like how much are we missing because we can't understand each other?
Exactly. Well, get this. AI might just hold the key to unlocking animal communication as we know it.
It's a fascinating field. I mean, for years, we've been stuck just observing their behavior and trying to interpret their calls. But AI is totally changing the game.
Okay, so before we go full-on Dr. Dolittle, let's start with elephants. I mean, these are some seriously social animals, right?
Oh, absolutely. They have incredibly complex social structures. And scientists like Joyce Poole have been studying their communication for, like, decades.
Decades. So what have we actually learned from all that research?
Well, one of the most exciting discoveries has been the idea that elephants might actually have individual names.
Individual names, what do you mean?
So sometimes an elephant will make a really specific call and only one other elephant will respond. It's like their own personal greeting.
Whoa, so it's like they're calling each other out by name?
Exactly. And it suggests a level of complexity in their communication that we're honestly only just starting to understand.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Okay, so where does AI come into all of this?
So researchers like Mickey Pardo and Joyce Poole have been using AI to analyze elephant calls, and they've actually created these models that can predict who an elephant is calling out to just based on the sound of their call.
Wait, seriously? That's incredible. It's like they cracked a secret code.
And the really amazing thing is that AI is able to pick up on these subtle patterns in the calls that humans just can't hear. It's like opening up this whole new window into the world of elephant communication.
That's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
So if AI can unlock these individual calls, do you think it's possible that, like, eventually we could have actual full-blown conversations with elephants?
Well, that might be a little ways off, but the potential is definitely there.
I have to admit, the idea of having a chat with an elephant is pretty amazing.
It is pretty wild when you think about it. But even beyond elephants, AI is helping us understand animal communication in ways we never thought possible.
Oh, yeah. Like what? Give me another example.
Okay, well, imagine trying to like have a conversation at a really crowded party.
Oh, been there. That's
Well,
like
okay.
my life with a family of five. Haha.
Haha, right. There's music playing, everyone's talking over each other, it's loud.
Yeah.
It's like almost impossible to focus on just one voice, you know?
Oh, totally.
Well, researchers run into the same problem when they're trying to study animal communication, especially in the wild.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There's just so much noise going on around them. You've got wind, rain, other animals.
It's trying to have a conversation in the middle of a jungle, right?
Exactly. It's like a giant acoustic puzzle, and they're trying to put it all together.
Okay, so I'm starting to see the problem here. How did they even begin to make sense of it all?
That's where AI comes in.
Okay.
Scientists actually call this the cocktail party problem, and AI is shockingly good at solving it. It's like having a magic filter that can isolate just the sound of, like, a monkey's call.
Wait, really? Yeah. Even in the middle of a jungle with everything else going on.
Yep. That's what's happening right now. AI is letting researchers zero in on specific animal sounds with incredible clarity, even with all that background noise.
That's pretty incredible. It's like turn up the volume on just the one voice you want to hear.
Yeah.
But like, even if we can isolate those sounds, just hearing them isn't enough, right? We need to actually understand what they mean.
You're absolutely right. And this is where things get really interesting. AI isn't just good at filtering out noise. It's also crazy good at recognizing patterns,
Okay.
the kinds of patterns we see in language.
Okay, I think I'm following you, but break it down for me.
Think about it this way. Human language has a certain, like, shape to it.
Shape.
Yeah, like there's a pattern to the way we structure our sentences, how words relate to each other, stuff like that. And AI can learn to recognize those patterns.
Interesting.
So it's like AI is learning to read the patterns of human language.
Okay, so you're saying like maybe it could do the same thing for animal communication.
Exactly. We're not saying that animal communication is exactly like human language or anything,
Yeah.
but there might be some underlying similarities,
Right.
like patterns that show up across different species.
Oh, wow.
And if AI can be trained to, say, recognize the shape of dolphin communication or the grammar of birdsong, well, that changes everything.
That would be huge. Imagine being able to decipher whale song or understand what wolves are saying to each other.
I know, right?
It would completely change how we see the animal kingdom.
It really could. And While we aren't at the point of having full-blown conversations with every animal on the planet just yet.
Uh-huh. Although wouldn't that be something else?
Right. But anyway, we're not quite there yet, but the potential is definitely there. And that actually brings us to some pretty important questions. Like, how can we be sure that we're interpreting those animal messages correctly?
That's a great question. I mean, we can't just assume, like, every animal communicates exactly the way we do, right?
Exactly. We could end up like totally misinterpreting things if we're not careful.
So how do we make sure we're getting it right? How can we really check our work when we're talking about languages we don't understand?
That's the million-dollar question, right? It's going to take a lot more research and probably some creative solutions to really validate these AI models. We need ways to test their accuracy, to make sure we're not just projecting our own assumptions onto what we're hearing.
And it's not even just about getting it right, is it? There's a whole other layer of, like, ethics that we have to consider here.
You're absolutely right. This research has incredible potential for good, but we have to be so careful about how we use it.
It's a little like, I don't know, having a superpower, almost, right? Like, it could lead to these amazing breakthroughs, but if we're not careful, it could be misused.
100%.
Mm.
We got to remember, these are sentient beings.
Yeah.
We need to respect their ways of communicating, their privacy.
Mm.
We don't want to exploit that or use this technology in a way that could harm them.
It's a huge responsibility, but I think it's one we have to take seriously. I mean, this research could change everything, could help us understand the animal kingdom in ways we never even imagined, and that could totally change how we interact with animals forever.
Absolutely. It could mean better conservation efforts, a deeper understanding of animal intelligence, and heck, even change how we think about communication itself.
It's mind-blowing. I feel like we could talk about this all day. But for everyone listening, what stands out to you? What are you thinking about? Do you think we'll ever get to the point where we have, like, a universal translator for all animals?
Yeah.
Let us know what you think.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of animal communication and AI. It's a wild world out there, and we're just starting to scratch the surface of what's possible. As always, keep exploring, keep questioning, and stay curious. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into the world around us. Until then.